welcome to our 4002&You for the month of October. We would like to introduce you to Christy Seth. She is the representative from LinkedbyPink, and along with me is Caitlin Felter. She's works here in our accounting department at Bauer Specialty, and we have Angela McGee with Sales Genius, and she's of our marketing efforts. So, Christy, if you could introduce us to yourself and your program, we'd appreciate it.
My name's Christy. I'm the executive director for LinkedbyPink, and I became a member in 2018 following my own diagnosis at 33 years old. And I just benefited so much from the supports that I received that, last year decided that I needed to get a little bit more involved and stepped into a director role. So.
Wow. That seems like a big getting involved. That doesn't seem like a very small thing. It's not like you just volunteered at a
I would volunteer and attend different events, and I have a background in social work, and it just, I feel like I have a special skill set along with my own experience that it felt like a very good fit.
Excellent.
So.
Wow, that's a lot. So how did you end up becoming the manager? Like how did that even present itself?
Well, so LinkedbyPink, we just marked 15 years
Wow.
that we've been around. And for the majority of that, our leaders have been our founding members, which are Norma Zimmer and Heather Smith. And they are at a point in life where they're ready to pass the baton, so good for them. They've worked so hard all these years. They are why we are still here, and they continue to support us. But that conversation came up, and here I am.
Wow. Congratulations. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You jumped both feet in, right? So
Yes.
there it is. And you said it's been going for 15 years. Do you have totals as far as like how many people you've impacted as far as?
So yeah,
patients?
this year is a huge year for us. We hit a couple of milestones. Not only was it 15 years, but we marked over $500,000 in grant distribution to local area women. So in surrounding areas, because we do service within a 45-mile radius. So we stretch down into the Meadville area across the border to Ohio. But yeah, we have over $500,000 in grant distributions that have happened.
It has to be challenging to service like a large area, and if being that we have social media and people that from greater distances obviously can hear about your program, and it's going to be very hard to make a decision on helping somebody or someone is not within that range.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys wrestle with those decisions?
Our LinkedbyPink group was formulated 15 years ago with a focus on serving young breast cancer and bringing awareness to the issue of young breast cancer. Well, we don't turn anybody away in terms of our supports. Everybody is welcome to our group. We have to make a determination based on where we are that year. But as of right now, grants are available to anybody who's 50 and not diagnosed 50 and under.
Okay.
So, and at the point of diagnosis on, so even outside of medical treatment, going through chemo, radiation, surgeries, even once they are in recovery, they still have that medical grant that's available to them.
What type of services do you guys provide? Like what level of assistance?
So beyond our grant program, which includes medical grants, living expense grants, as well as travel grants. We also have a little bit of a smaller grant for our ongoing members. It's a wellness grant, so they can go and do acupuncture, massage, things that really we know really complement. Massage. That really complement not only when you're in treatment, but as you're recovering from because we know these treatments can be really harsh
Mhm.
and have a major impact on the body. But we also have our monthly support group that happens at the Erie Cancer Wellness Center the first Wednesday of the month at 6:30. We've been very fortunate to call that our new headquarters for our meetings.
Okay.
A very, very cool place, lots of resources. So we have that as well as an online support forum. And so once a woman who has been recently diagnosed attends a meeting, she's then able to be added to this group. And one of those things that we hear really often is how helpful it is to be able to ask all these women who have been through the treatments, okay, I have surgery coming up, what should I expect?
Sure.
Or I'm having these side effects, is this normal? So that's been, I know for me, I really benefited from it. And
There's a lot of fear in that uncertainty, so for sure.
And sometimes the online forum, I think, feels a little bit more comfortable to people. So
How about like some of the family members? Do you find, significant others attending, for maybe some of those sessions where the Q&As are going on and it helps educate them as well?
yeah, so we also have a co-survivor group that's available. And I keep saying I haven't been talking about it enough because they're kind of separate. Like they have their space that's supposed to be separate from us,
Sure.
and because they need that support when you're helping someone through a cancer diagnosis. We know that it takes a toll on every area of life. And so we also have that support available.
I'm sure the help is not knowing what to do.
Mhm.
That can be challenging.
Definitely.
I'm going to introduce Kate again. I'd like her to share, if she would, her personal experience with the program and any advice that she might give to somebody that's in need of service.
So I went to a LinkedbyPink meeting. We just discovered the year. What was the year? 2015.
Should be doing
After my second cancer diagnosis, I have always, especially back then, was a little more reserved than I am now. I didn't like to talk about it. I was brought there. I really thought I was alone. That nobody would really understand what I was going through. When you hear the word cancer at such a young age, what do you mean I have cancer? I can't have cancer. I'm invincible. So over the years, I participated here and there with LinkedbyPink. I can tell you a story of the time that the support group really helped me. My cancer returned 2 years ago, right in the height of COVID. I was living by myself, and I had this mindset that I have to do it on my own, and I have nobody else that I can count on. And I finally admitted that I was struggling. And a member of the support group put me on a prayer list, and I started coming home after work every day to cards. She had strangers from all over the country. My mailbox was stuffed for a week, and you never know what somebody's going through. That struggle, it's hard. So it's just one way that somebody in the group has really helped me. The advice to somebody that's newly diagnosed, cancer really changes everything. You have to adjust to a new normal, finding things that really bring joy to your life. help with such a negative time, it's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Okay to not be okay.
Well, thank you very, very much for sharing that. I know it's not easy, and you're doing great. As JD would say.
Yep.
I am supposed to ask you about your new clothing line. All that good stuff here.
So we've had clothing over the years, but we just went on kind of a different direction, and Erie Apparel was really great in coming up with some new designs that we were really interested in. Just kind of, I don't want to say jazzing things up a little bit, but like just having a little bit something different other than our basic logo. So we do have, the clothing has arrived, and we're getting it ready, and we're hoping to have a couple of pop-up sales that are coming.
Okay.
So people don't realize we don't actually have a location, right? So we are hoping to partner with a couple different community members. So I really encourage everybody to check out our Facebook page if you're interested in some of the new options.
Sure. What are some of the items like it? I know it's like,
So I'm wearing one of them,
okay.
but this is one of our basic ones. We have one that we're very much in love with, that it's a Peace Love LinkedbyPink shirt. It's like perfect softness. Yes, I think it's going to be a new favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got sweatshirts, we've got zip ups, t-shirts, you name it.
All right. Well, Bauer especially has a new building in the works here, 5301 Iroquois Avenue, and that'd be great to have a pop up there once we get open. And
Yeah.
cool.
That'd be great.
All right. I guess referring to my notes here, like what, if we could kind of dive back into the process, what are some of the things that you would tell people or advice you would give about early detection and the importance of that type of stuff?
We say that early detection is the best protection. And we have so many members in our group that their very first mammogram, their very first report of a concern, where the cancer has been discovered. And the outcomes we know are so much better, and the recovery is so much better when we're able to catch it sooner. So I always say, know your body. You have to do the self-exams. You absolutely have to, because mammograms are maybe once a year, if that. When I was diagnosed, I never had a mammogram. I was too young. And so knowing your body and listening to your body, and then it's tough sometimes, but you have to be in a position where you're able to tell a provider when you have a concern. And we have had some members who say, I said something and nobody listened, or because I was so young, I felt overlooked. Just really knowing to advocate for yourself. And if there's someone who isn't listening, to find somebody else. Yeah.
That's good advice. Do you feel that there has been a shift and people are taking younger people more seriously when they are having these concerns, and not just, dismissing it as just an ache or pain or something, or some abnormality that, it's fine, it'll go away, or it's nothing?
I would like to think so. I had both experiences where I was seeing a provider that I just kind of, I was pregnant when I was diagnosed.
Wow.
And so they kind of minimized it or didn't have the same concern. At the time that I was diagnosed, I had gone to a different doctor because I didn't feel like I was being heard. And that doctor took things more seriously than I did. I was kind of like, this is just something my body does in pregnancy. This is normal, right? And she had me in for imaging within the week, and yes, I got results that nobody wants to receive. I never imagined that I would receive, but I also believe that it saved my life. that I was seeing a doctor regularly because of my pregnancy. And I had somebody who was looking out for me maybe a little bit more than I was for my, or I thought I needed to be doing for myself.
Yeah, it sounds like
So-
two different extremes. Somebody being
Yeah.
maybe reassuring, but just dismissive, and then you have the other person who's like, oh my gosh, we got to really be proactive about this and address it. So, so I guess your advice to women with that diagnosis is definitely
Mhm.
seek the help that you need, right?
Yes, and we're a support to anybody who is struggling with any type of breast cancer issue. So you don't have to be diagnosed to get in touch with us. If you are in a position like that, feel free to reach out, and as best as we are able to help and get you connected with somebody,
Sure.
we will do. We're happy to do.
It sounds like you have a lot of really good people, with the same intentions, helping people out and not being alone, not feeling like you don't have somebody in your corner. And that's what you need. You just need to know that you have resources, you have people to talk to that'll just, even if it's just a conversation, you need to hear some encouraging words, or maybe you just need to vent, about what you're doing or process the information, right? Like the doctors are saying all this stuff. What does it mean?
Mhm. And I mean, the story that you shared, I think, is a perfect example of what the LinkedbyPink group is all about. People don't always realize that we are survivor built and continue to be run by survivor volunteers. So these are women that some of them are actively in treatment, providing support. Some of them are several years out, which is also, I think, great for people to be able to see that here's somebody thriving 20 years later. So but the one common thread is just everybody is willing to turn around and help the next person behind them.
That's wonderful.
And that's not an unspoken motto.
Or spoken. No, that's
official.
That's wonderful. Well, we thank you so much for coming in and meeting with us today and sharing the story and all the information. Please keep us in the loop as far as these other pop-ups that you're planning. If you don't have any of those right now, do you have any that are for sures, or are they all still kind of in the
Well,
works?
we're talking about possibly having one at Londiri on State Street.
Okay.
So that's in the works. We do have a big event that happens at the end of the month. Erie Fitness Academy does a fundraiser for us. It's called Dawn of the Deadlift.
Okay.
It's they're one of our biggest supporters, but it's also a really fun event. They dress up in costumes. They have a deadlift competition. And what's super cool about it is we have multiple members who compete in it. And that's just
Awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they are such bad ASSs. Who's watching?
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Christy. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.